Hey guys, my name is Pedro Uzcategui, and this year, 2026, I decided that I wanted to start a YouTube channel, you call it. I am not precisely sure what it's going to be focused about, but I am certain that it has to be around AI and around math and logic and pretty much the evolution and the future that we are currently seeing. So, just to guys give you guys some feedback. Since last year, when we started seeing these frontier models, I have I think I have become a bit maybe fearful of the future, and it's not because I am only afraid of losing my job or having like another big economic worldwide crisis, but because I am afraid of more than that. Like we are seeing a technology that is definitely something, as the guy from Tesla said, Andrew Karpathy, I believe it's called. Um, it's like an alien technology, basically. And he's probably one of the most proficient programmers and human beings in actuality. And the fact that he said that he is falling behind, it's one of the things that definitely made me a bit scared. Um, Long story short, um, well, actually, just a bit of background. I studied computer science. I graduated last year, actually, like probably last month. And unfortunately, I didn't necessarily learn the technologies and new things that we're currently using. I just um, learned, like, calculus, like PHP, C, Java, like this bare bones structure that is from the past. And to be honest, like the majority of my learning has existed outside university. The reason I decided to enroll in university in the first place is because I needed the title, the yeah, basically just the degree. um, and the thing is that I think that this, or at least computer science, is still relevant because it's very closely related to math. However, like web development is not one of the things that are going to be necessarily um, like secure, I would say, for people coming from this university background. A lot of my friends, they are just learning like PHP at the moment, and my university isn't necessarily like the best university of my country. It's probably one of the, like, whatever, like most normal universities. um, but the thing is that we are not actively learning like LLMs or MCP protocols or transformers, or how this LLM works on the back, like intrinsically, like more deeply. We're not learning the maths that we need um, for just to understand how like a matrix work and how that relates to transformers and to LLMs and statistics and all of these things. So, it's just interesting because I have a particular position, and is that I think there's a lot of like right now, these this next years are going to be very interesting, because I think the definitive factor, or like the factor that's going to differentiate people who can survive, economically speaking, and people who are going to get behind is people who accept that we are living in a new world, basically. With this, I mean that we are living in a world where we need to become more orchestrators. We need to um, basically produce more output if we want a job or if we want to stay relevant. We want to be on the bleeding edge of models and technologies, and right now there's like a lot of things happening. One of them being like Claude Code is one of the things that it's like people in Google it's like are even saying that it's one of the most amazing LLMs out there and tools out there. So the fact that I don't think software engineering will die. I think we are just living through I would say, a quality of thinking phase. With this, I mean that we all have the same tool. Let's say that we all have access to ChatGPT and Gemini and Cloud Code and all of this. However, I think people with more context, this being people who has been studying math, studying physics, studying basically just still learning about those said domains, are going to leverage the tools more effectively than those who basically didn't. Um, yes, like there's a lot of advancements regardless of AI doing like image generation, video generation. I think like that's actively progressing, and I think that there will be more local LLM driven companies. So I think we will start to see people drifting from OpenAI. I think there will be models that are just good enough to do things, and you don't need like more than that. Um, so I I make this channel, I make this video because I want to help people navigate this new reality. And the way I intend to do that is through course creation on automations, AI, math, logical argumentation, operating systems. Just basically things that are, in my opinion, going to be still relevant, regardless if AI accelerates or not. Me, myself, I am considering even just pursuing some other type of skills at the same time that are closely related to basically the science domain. Right now I do not have like a plan, but I'm probably just going to do some of that. But we are living in, I would say, very interesting times, and at the same time very challenging times. That's not a like a surprise to anybody. But there's this quote that I first heard from Mortal Kombat 1, so that like the newest, which in theory should be like Mortal Kombat 12. But basically they said Raiden was fighting, I believe it was, I don't know, it was Raiden who said it. But basically he said that the only constant in the universe is change, and I believe this is true. And if we look at that from a biological standpoint, we're going to see that one of the things that I forgot his name, but Darwin said is that adaptability is the survival mechanism. Something like that. I don't really know. But yeah, like we just need to adapt. We just need to accept that. And I was one of those people that took pride in writing their own code. Like for me, that's cool. But that's not going to happen anymore, probably, or just very, very few. We still need to learn about systems design, memory, concurrency. Like those challenges will exist. Low level Rust is very promising. I see a lot of things rewritten in Rust, so I'm very excited for that. I see more progression on AI applied to scientific problems, like really important scientific problems such as cancer, such as addiction, um, detection of particular diseases, DNA editing. Like, it's really interesting. But the fact is that it's not interesting to the average human because they're just focused on survival, and I don't blame them, because almost all of us, are into that average human side of things. However, I don't think everything is lost, because, just recapping one of my older points, I believe that one of the particular abilities or differentiators that will make people who survive and people who don't in this era, or stay relevant, I would say, is that people who will still be relevant are going to still study, but are going to, instead of studying tools or methods, they're going to study the areas and approach it from a first principles thinking. So with this, I say they're going to still learning math, or at least this is what I'm betting the future. They're going to learn math, they're going to learn physics. They're, for example, if you like to do web development, which I see a little bit less of that. I see more like advanced tools, maybe with like WebAssembly or something that it's more performant. I think Figma is a great example of a tool that it's relevant and it's in the web development ecosystem. Hopefully it's someone or maybe a group that is crazy enough can recreate the entirety of the Adobe suite, but just open source. That could happen now that we have more tools to produce more code and more context. But yeah, basically, I think people who improve their quality of thinking, and this is done through logical argumentation, mathematics, physics, and not only that, but are deepening their knowledge into some of their areas. I think those are going to be the ones who leverage AI more effectively. It's going to be an interesting year. I don't think it's going to be an Armageddon or like just this doom that we see in social media. And this brings me to the other point, which is that one of the things that I want to do this year is to use social media to help people to embrace this change and use the tools and who knows what else, and at the same time not use it for consumption. Because here's the thing, so if you're seeing this, it's January 3rd 2026, and I live in Venezuela, so you probably know that today there was basically the US government captured Nicolas Maduro, and then they brought him to NYC to face justice and whatnot. Basically, I forgot what I was going to say, but anyway, maybe I can just... what I was going to say is that regardless, I think there's a lot... yeah, I remember. So there's a lot of rage baiting on the internet right now. I downloaded TikTok just to be like, updated on the news and whatnot. And I am not lying, I didn't even spend or have spent 1 minute on the platform, and I was already, like, my mood was already altered. And I think this is happening at scale, and or focus, people cannot focus more than 5 minutes. I bet my money on that, without like music or any external sources. And I think that we need to protect our focus, and that basically require us to not give attention or our focus to these applications. I think social media has done a really good impact on the world overall. And at the same time, I think that we need to recognize that the internet and the AI generated content and just a lot of like businesses do not have your, let's say, best interest in mind. They just want to capture your attention as much as they can in order to sell data to companies, and they just send you advertisements and whatnot. But I think it's our duty to recognize that we need to probably start removing more social media from our lives. But I think there's an interesting time to be alive overall. That's my take. I understand that there's a lot of people who has more unfortunate situations than me, and then more people, they probably didn't have the chance to study, they didn't have the chance to do things like a father or a mother that supported them. And I know it's sad, and that's probably one of the reasons I am also doing this, to help those particular people who want to still be relevant and do it for free. And that's probably a third point of this video. I am not going to sell anything. Particularly courses. If I happen to do like a event and those events have tickets, okay, I understand that there's logistics and some other things that we need to pay, but anything that is course related, education related, is not going to be sold. It's going to be freely available in YouTube, and that's it. I'm not going to sell any courses. I am not going to make content that is designed to gather attention. I'm going to just make content that I want to see on the internet, and just connect with people who want to still believe in that opportunity that there is a good world, or that we can build a good world. There's a lot of evil out there. I recognize it. I think there's a lot of good out there too. And we build the future as we create it. As a matter of fact, I have this particular business, or let's call it organization, that I thought, and I just wrote it down. It's Curious Virtuosity. So curiosity from a Stoic standpoint is not a virtue, based on what Gemini said. There are actually just 4 virtues, and curiosity is not one of them. But for me, is curiosity virtuosity, or curious virtuosity, basically. I'm not sure if it's going to be final, but for me, what it means is that we need to be curious. I think that's one of the things that probably bring us joy and excitement about the future, and not feel doomed about it. And virtuosity, or virtuosity, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but I think virtuosity, because acting with virtue is one of the things that probably will help us build a better future. Courage, temperance, justice, and courage, temperance, justice. I believe it was wisdom. I don't know. But basically, you can look it up. I think people need a reason to live. And hopefully my content and just guides on how to traverse this new future will help them. So that's it. Love you guys. Have an amazing 2026, and see you soon.